Hello everyone. Today we're going to be learning about dyeing leather. So we've done our tooling at this point with our fancy little tooling stamps. Now we want to add color to our projects. We have an EcoFlow deep violet and a bison brown that we're going to be using today. Also for our finish is a satin sheen. This is more of the duller finish, so it's not going to have as much of a shine. And here's our project. So this one this one together and these ones together. We're going to have our daubers, medium size, one for each color, and a buffing rag or a buffing cloth. Okay, so we're going to grab our deep violet first. So we make sure to put a paper onto our table first, so that way if there was any spillage, you could be able to save it. Now, dyes are a very one-time permanent type deal, so we want to have our areas clean and ready to go, so nothing is contaminated. So we open it up. We're going to grab our dauber. Now, putting it on the table helps, or holding it still. We're going to put our dauber in and we're going to roll it. Okay, we're going to get it all liquid up, but then go to the top of the level and pour out the excess. You see how there's some coming off? We don't want this thing to be saturated. We just want it to have a good level of dye. And usually I start with the middle and work your way out in a circular motion. Now, did not get to show that one on there. I'll do it on the next one. So as you can see, doing circles. I'm just doing the outer coat right now, and just strip lines for this one. And we're not trying to push it either. You know, we have dye on the end. If you push it, it starts to affect the actual inside, or like your inner works of your project. And so sometimes it could leave like weird outer darkness because, you know, it's been accessed. And also on this side, if you push too hard, it will bleed too much onto it, and we don't want that. Okay, so we got the one, and we're gonna do it again. We're gonna re-tap it, roll it on the top. Okay, and I'm gonna try and get in view. Start in the middle and work your way up. And the reason why we're doing this is because, like I always say, consistency. Consistency is the key to leatherworking. So we're not trying to get the dye on the hardware either. Normally, you have the hardware attached after you do the dyeing. This was just from a project kit that I just got. Now, the reason why, some of you are thinking, why haven't I done the insides? Well, the reason why is because it can lead to more bleeding onto your items. So bleeding is when your dye transfers onto whatever item, clothing, even plastic cards. I've seen wallets mark up credit cards and stuff like that really badly from dye. So, you know, it's I'd rather have it raw in the inside. If you're gonna finish it, then put a finisher on, but having a dye, it's nice, but it's also I won't say excessive, but it's going to take way more dye as well to do the inner side than the outside. This side pushes nicer. than this side. This takes up like twice as much dye. All right, I got a husky going through a shedding spree right now. And so yeah, so the reason why having like making your holes is nice, because if you have your like some of your markings, you can sort of hide it with the dye. If you do it afterwards, it sort of shows more, kind of thing. But at the same time, I do a lot of the hole making after dyeing, because sometimes having the dye bleeds through these holes, right? So it's leatherworking is very like a personal kind of do as it works for you kind of thing. You can sort of see that little lip right there is not dark enough. Now, since I had to touch it up, I have to sort of redo the whole thing for trying to have consistency. Because if I just did the front, it would sort of show, depending on how much oil and stuff like that, or dye. Now the thing is, actually, EcoFlow, it doesn't have oil. It's a water-based, so that's their whole stick, or what, stick, or something like that. One of those words. All right, we're gonna do Bison Brown. I'm pretty sure I haven't opened that one up yet, so oh, I have. Okay. I was gonna say, let's show you how to open up one, but oh well. So, same thing. So this one's drying now, so we're gonna leave that to the side. We are done with that stuff. And we're gonna just work on this one. So, get it in. Roll it at the top. Right? And work from the middle. Now the reason why I say work from the middle is because if we work from one side to the other, just like that, the other side is already drying by the time we have gotten to the other end. If you work in the middle, it sort of helps push around the dye rather than making it work its way up, kind of thing, like right, like that kind of thing, right? So this is more for when you got a base set dye on it now, and then you're just working it in. Okay. And see, a little bit too much dye. And just light strokes. Steady as we go, because if you rush it, yeah, that's it. It's a one-time thing. You can't get the dye out of the leather once it's in. You can sort of negate it as best as you can by doing other things to it, but nice bison brown. Yeah. Now you don't want to also touch it up, kind of thing, because as it's settling, you sort of want it to not have fingerprints. So, and since I hit the back, we gotta go through the whole thing again. Okay, there we go. Nice base. Now you see this one doesn't have any tooling, you know, and that's totally okay too. You don't need to have tooling on all your parts, but at the same time, you know, it's really nice. Tooling makes it so that it's very personalized. Start from the middle. Now you see how I'm just basically brushing it kind of thing. If you flick at it, it gets, or if you roll along the edges, it causes way more dye to spill out. Also, the more you use your dauber, the less dye you'll need on it, because it's sort of already picking up dye. Okay, so it's not as dark. So we're going to get just a little bit more. Got to find a way to figure out how to make my camera not shake. And always circles. Circles are the key to it. Because if you just go back and forth, it's going to leave streakiness. Or streaks. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. Now for the edges it's okay, because you know it's not like a huge surface area to be able to notice streaks kind of thing. And really that's the only way you can do them. And if it's a tight corner, you see how I'm just twisting it? Alright, I'm going to re-tag it once again. Okay. Okay, there we go. So now that we have the dye, we've had about, let's say about 8 minutes of drying time. Let's go and take a look at the other project. Just make sure you don't have wet dye on your fingers before transferring next. Well, that's still pretty cool and damp. We might want to let that sit a little bit longer. We want this to be sort of bone dry in a sense. Then we're going to hit it with the buffing cloth. Same thing, it's going to be a circle motion, and what we're doing is we're picking up any of the dye that is sitting on the leather that hasn't gone into the leather, almost like the particles that are like dust, you know? So we're wiping it clean, and it will give it a nice shine as well, but then we're going to hit it with the finish. The finish helps make it so that it sets, what is it? A finish to... not concealer. Well, it's a cover, it's a coating kind of thing. I'm having a brain fart over the word right now. But a finish is needed so that the dye doesn't go onto your clothes and stuff like that. So like this helps, but this is the most needed part. Now the reason why we have to do this before this is because if you just leave the dust on it and then hit it with this, it's going to have the liquid on top of the dust. But then when it moves, all those points are raw at this point now because the finish has been taken off. A sealer. That's the word, sealer. And when you're putting on a finish or a sealer, you're going to lightly spray a sponge with, make it lightly damp. And then, same thing, circles. Now, just be warned that, like, if you don't pick up as much dye, this thing is going to change different colors. Because because of how much dye it's picking up. So if you have a brown project and you're working with a blue project, you don't want to use the same side to transfer those colors over, right? Let's take another look. No, it's getting closer. Also, just eat up a little bit more time kind of thing, I do plan to do this later on, is a highlight stain. A Pro Resist and a highlight stain. So a Pro Resist is another finisher, but it's it's more sealed. It's pretty much once it's sealed, it should have nothing coming through kind of thing. Or that's it. It's a Pro Resist. But so the highlight stain. So you see this leaf here. Focus in. We're going to have, actually we might not make this black, we might make it brown. I do have a brown one of this, but all the shadow, we're going to amplify it. So it's going to be a different color than this purple. But on this brown, I am definitely thinking I'm going to use this black. I think that would be nice. I don't know, maybe I'll use the brown again though. We'll see when we see. That's the whole point of leatherworking. It's just to have fun with it. Alright, well, I'm going to go and put this on stop. And hopefully I can be able to edit it together. And if not, then I'll just make 2 separate videos. So that is how to apply dye.